那好，各位朋友、女士们、先生们，大家好。我们下一场的这个主题论坛马上就开始了。那我先有请一下这个。
The second session will soon start. I would like to invite our guests. They will be talking about digitalization and IoT, which is the way to smart port and logistics. And now I would like to invite our guests. The first is Madam Eunwoo, representative of China Research Center of Korea Maritime Institute, South Korea, and also Mr. Peng Junsong, Chief Digital Officer and Vice President of SAP China, and Mr. Tenovuo. And online, we can see Richard. Say hello to the audience. And he is from business unit. He is from Trelleborg, Marine and Infrastructure Operation. Hi, Richard.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So we have audience today.
And let's start this session. We can see that the ports are under great pressure to add value to the entire supply chain as the expectations increase for one-day delivery and also for flexible distribution networks. So today's topic is about digitalization and IoT, which is the way to smart ports and logistics. And our speakers will share their ideas and thoughts on this topic. And first, I would like to invite Richard from Sweden, because it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I would like to invite Richard to begin our session's first speech. And Richard will provide us with rich content on digitalization and IoT. Why smart solutions and automations is the key to logistics and terminals operation.
Let us welcome Richard Hepworth to start our speech first. Welcome, Richard. The stage is for you.
So hello and good morning. My name is Richard Hepworth, and I'm the president of Trelleborg Marine Infrastructure. I'm honoured to have been invited to talk to you today at this forum. I'm sorry I can't join the conference in person, but I hope this video link will still be an efficient way of communicating with you. My company, Trelleborg Marine Infrastructure, is involved in the supply of products and solutions that are used in ports and terminals around the world. We make equipment to facilitate the berthing, docking and mooring of ships, and we have a particular focus on the interface between port and ship. Our aim is to make these operations as safe and efficient and sustainable as possible, helping our customers to improve their operational performance. I'd like to talk to you today about the impact of digitalization and IoT and how this is changing the way we work in ports and how it's changing things for traditional suppliers like my business. As we know, the maritime industry is the engine for the global economy. 90% of world trade is seaborne, and in the last 20 years, we've seen the size of ships increase dramatically. These demands are driving the need for new and updated port infrastructure. We also know that shipping lines and port operators are under increasing financial pressure. This means they need to improve their operational efficiency. To do this, they need higher throughput of goods through the port, which in turn means faster turnaround times for vessels. And now we have sustainability as a key consideration for all stakeholders in the maritime industry. All these challenges mean that port operators and shipping companies need to evolve, to adopt smart technologies that can help them realise these new challenges. While the use of digital technology in landside port operations has developed in recent years, and there is also progress with autonomous shipping, the interface between ships and ports has been neglected. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today in more detail. The concept of understanding critical events at the port and vessel interface through real-time data capture is not new to the industry, nor is the idea that ports can utilise that data to improve operational efficiency and critical decision-making. We've been discussing these concepts for a long time. We know that the future of ports is led by a vision of digital innovation. However, we can see that this vision is now becoming a reality. Thanks to digital technology, ports, terminals and ships are starting to benefit from gathering data during the vessel approach, berthing and mooring processes. This is allowing them to analyse the data and make informed decisions that will improve safety, efficiency and sustainability. In response to these industry challenges, my business, Trelleborg, have combined our experience making traditional products such as fenders and mooring equipment with smart technologies to create our SmartPort offering. SmartPort is one answer to the need for a standardised way to collect and store data and use that data to address the challenges at the port and vessel interface. It's a technology platform that connects operations and equipment from multiple stakeholders. It allows users to analyse asset performance and apply data insights to improve day-to-day decision-making and deliver long-term operational improvements. Let's learn a little more about SmartPort.
Data across the critical interface between ship and port, on land and at sea. Trelleborg Marine and Infrastructure's engineering expertise and sector knowledge of each application, from port approach to berthing, inform the analysis of real-time data to provide operators with the most important insights and recommendations. Sensors placed on traditional assets or in SmartPort products capture performance data to create a smart, connected network of marine equipment, providing data in multiple areas of port operations. SmartPort integrates and analyzes these data points to improve decision-making and long-term operational efficiency. Consistent monitoring generates critical data on vessel and berth operational limits, allowing operators to keep on top of maintenance requirements, optimize spending, and improve efficiency of operations. All types of ports and terminals around the world are benefiting from Trelleborg SmartPort. Using the insights they have gained to improve efficiency, increase safety, and improve sustainability to reduce their overall risk. Smart technology is changing and shaping the world around us, and for the marine sector to capitalize on the promise of a smart-powered future, we must also evolve the way we work. With SmartPort, this evolution is underway. The question is your port ready for the next digital transformation?
As you've just seen, SmartPort is a technology platform that connects port operations and equipment. It allows data to be collected from different pieces of equipment, which is then stored and processed in the cloud. From there, we can use our applications knowledge of those critical operations to deliver insights to our customers. Insights such as reducing risk, reducing vessel turnaround times, or more accurate vessel positioning. All of which can be used to improve decision-making and secure operational improvements. I'll quickly show you a few examples and case studies of SmartPort type solutions that we're currently working on. At a major port like DP World's Jebel Ali in Dubai, we have been looking at how marine technology can be used to improve the management of their container terminal berths. To do this, a 400-metre-long berth has been fitted with a smart fender monitoring system. This allows DP World to accurately capture vessel speed and angle of approach, fender deflection, and distance between vessel and quay wall. This data is monitored continuously and wirelessly sent to the cloud, where it is analysed to gain useful insights. Using these insights, we can identify abnormal berthing events, allowing the port to pinpoint vessels operating outside allowable parameters, which may cause accidents or damage assets. In the next example, we can see that the docking and mooring process is key to the efficiency and safety of many ports, in particular ferry terminals. Traditional mooring using ropes takes up valuable time and exposes workers to dangerous conditions. That's why ports are starting to think more about automated mooring technologies that can speed up the berthing process and increase safety for the mooring crew. One port that's implemented such technology is the port of Langnäs in Finland. The port's international cruise ferry berth accommodates almost 3,000 moorings per year. Most of these are for large cruise ferries with sizes up to 66,000 tonnes and with ships vessels over 230 metres in length. Given this very high volume of traffic, the port wanted to upgrade the berth to further increase vessel throughput. To do this, they installed Trelleborg's rope-free mooring system, Automoor. This system incorporates vacuum pad and passive damping technology, which eliminates the need for mooring lines, meaning a ship can be moored in 30 seconds instead of 40 to 50 minutes. In addition, the port also installed a smart fender monitoring system, which allows the ship to be positioned with a high degree of accuracy and precision, again speeding up the mooring time. The combinations of these smart technologies has greatly improved its vessel handling capability and helped to reduce emissions from vessels sat idling in the port waiting to berth. In the Teesport oil terminal in the UK, some of the largest oil tankers are using advanced navigation and piloting technology to guide the vessels accurately and safely into the port. The same technology that the ship's pilot is using is now also used by the tug operators, bringing increased situational awareness to all parties. Let's watch these smart technologies in action in this short video.
Tugboats are the backbone of port berthing operations. They need to push, pull, spin and drag vessels of all shapes and sizes with pinpoint accuracy in order to guide them safely into dock. Situational awareness is mission critical. You need to maximize visibility and communication among your tug skippers and the pilots. Introducing SafeTug from Trelleborg, the new generation of navigation software from Trelleborg Marine Systems. With SafeTug, now your skippers can have complete situational awareness as they bring large vessels into dock with intuitive touchscreen operation from any iPad. From the moment your tugs connect and the pilot takes control of the vessel, you have complete 360-degree visibility and connected communications. What's more, SafeTug is fully integrated with Trelleborg's Smart Port platform, connecting each port operation by using sensors from outside the port, through approach, berthing and departure. Also, you and your port can analyze performance and use the data to improve decision-making and boost safety, efficiency and profitability across the board.
As I mentioned earlier, sustainability is fast becoming a critical issue for the maritime industry. Whilst we see huge efforts to reduce emissions, both within ports and at sea, the maritime industry remains under pressure to ensure the IMO 2050 targets are achieved. The drive from governing bodies like IMO are quickly passing down the whole maritime value chain. Ports are demanding ship operators to become more accountable and action-orientated, who in turn are looking to equipment suppliers to play their part. They want the industry to contribute to reducing their overall footprint by becoming less carbon intensive. So it's very important that all port stakeholders do more to reduce vessel idling times and limit carbon footprints. Smart technologies, when implemented cohesively across port approach, berthing and departure, will bring huge efficiencies, playing a vital role in creating a more sustainable future.
Tugboats are the backbone of port berthing operations. They need to push, pull.
For sure, technology is the future of port operations, helping ports not only improve safety and efficiency, but also ensure new sustainability goals are achieved. So in conclusion, digitalization is a critical piece of the port jigsaw puzzle, and solutions such as smart port, provide a solid foundation for the continued digital journey. However, to enable this, collaboration across the entire shipping and maritime supply chain is needed to share data and to develop common systems and processes. At the same time, sustainability is now moving to the top of the agenda for all stakeholders. This is reshaping the business principles on which we have traditionally worked. Business models and processes are evolving by leveraging smart technologies. The industry is starting to embrace digitalization. It's time to see the true value and benefits of an era of data-driven smart ports. The shipping industry has reinvented itself many times in history, and it's now time to reinvent itself once again. Thank you for your time this morning. I look forward to taking any questions you've got during the panel discussion session that follows. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate your speech, and please stay online. We'll get back to you when we have Q&A session. OK 那感谢 Richard 分享啊，那他也是从这个。
Thank you very much, Richard, for your sharing. You talked about a smart port and every link related to smart port and how digitalization and digital technologies have changed the logistic supply chain. And now I would like to invite Madame Eunwoo Qian from South Korea to share with us her ideas. We know that policies are very important in promoting smartization of ports and terminals. Maybe some experience from South Korea and also comparison between yours and that of China. I am Kim Eunwoo from KMI, South Korea. Thank you for the invitation from the organizing committee. This is the first conference, international conference, I participated since I work in China. So I would like to take these opportunities to share with you my understanding on smart port. Just now, our moderator mentioned that I am from Marine Institute of South Korea, and our institute is dedicated to studying the policy making of the government. So today I would like to share with you relevant policies from South Korea concerning smart port building. Currently, South Korea does not have dedicated policies for smart ports, and the agenda of smart ports is part of smart logistics of our country, including automation of ports, interconnections between ports and terminals, interconnections between shipping and land transportation, and the interconnections between public transportations, and also the integration of technologies into development and the cultivation of talents in technologies related to smart technologies, and also the development of relevant technological platforms of smart technologies. So we are developing smart technology policies under these frameworks. And for terminals and ports automation, actually South Korea does not have automated ports. So the ports in South Korea are actually semi-automated. In the future, we plan to introduce cases, technologies related to ports and the terminals development. And we hope that in the future we can have our independent technologies developed for smart ports and automation of terminals. And for Incheon ports and Busan ports, we are also working to establish automated ports and terminals there. And the South Korea government has worked to build the Gwangyang port into the world level automated ports and terminals in the world. It is part of our national strategy. And for smart ports and terminals development, we will rely on big data and AI technologies to better improve the performance of operation at terminals and ports. We would also like to develop smart containers to collect data and signals through sensors and sensoring technologies. And the operators also require dynamic information of cargoes. And through technologies, we can meet the requirements of cargo owners. And for transfer terminals is a key place where the transportation between ports happen. So we need to improve efficiency at these ports. And for Busan port, it is the second largest container ports, transfer ports in the world. But the ports at the Busan ports is very dispersed. So it is difficult for us to improve the efficiency of transfer.
And we find that the cost for the information communication account for 7 to 8% for the total cost in the transit transport. So the communication cost might be too high. So Busan Port is building its blockchain platforms with which we can share the informations across different ports. And in order to make the transit port more smooth and to reduce the cost and the time consumption, as well as to reduce the congestion, we are considering introducing a inter-railway within our port. That means we will build a small railway system within our port. And also, we are making every endeavor to improve the efficiency of our service. We have been connected to improving our infrastructures for telecommunication. So in this way, we can reduce the waiting time for the vessels when they arrive the port. That means before they arrive the port, we will give a notification to the control center of our port, and we will, based on our algorithm, predict how much time will be needed for the upload and downloading of cargoes. And for the connection between the container vessels and the trucks, we also communicate the information to make sure the transit of cargoes more efficiently. And we also schedule the time according to the data we collected beforehand. So in this time, we can ensure the predictability and punctuality for the transit transport. And for the communication, we are also improving the public data sharing. So the South Korea government is considering how to share the dynamic information, real-time information on the platforms. Those informations can be shared, and that include the information about the boarding, mooring of vessels, and also the custom clearance procedures, etc. And also, we are considering the more investment for R&D, with which we want to set up a digital platforms that connect the port with the online infrastructures. And now we are making a feasibility report before making the upfront investment. And we also highly value the significance of training. We have been training our staff, our employees, with aim to make them as experts and leaders for the digitalized service of ports. Also, we are building a high-tech and infrastructure testing platforms in our port, including the maritime service, automatic maritime service and the automatic custom clearance procedures, as well as the automatic mooring and berthing services. So that wrap up my introduction for those policies and measures adopted by South Korea government in the maritime industry. To be honest, we still think that compared with the leaders in maritime industry like European countries and China, we still have a long way to go before we can efficiently digitalize our maritime industry. We are kind of latecomer in this regard, but in future we will further accelerate digitalization of our service. And we will continue with our effort with the aim to build a smart and digitalized platforms for the maritime service and port service. Thank you for your sharing. What impressed me is your excellent Mandarin, excellent Chinese, and you're also so modest. You say that your port is only semi-automized, while China's port have been fully automized. I would say you are too modest. And today with us, we still have another two panelists online. Later on, we will introduce their operations of ports in the online platform. And now we will give floor to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Karno Tenovuo, and he is the co-founder and chief executive officer of Awake.AI Finland. And he will introduce what they can do to predict the demand of users and the customers, and in response to that, port, what kind of measures should be adopted by the port to ensure more sustainable and approach of the port based on their sustainable operation.
I'm here to talk about sustainable and intelligent maritime logistics. Awake.AI is a startup now 2 years old, where have top talents from software engineering, platform development, AI development, and cybersecurity side. We have 30 people, with 50% of the people's background coming from Rolls-Royce autonomous ships, and 50% also have this Nokia and entrepreneur background. We're based in Finland at the moment. We're not just doing this development ourselves, but we have grown a smart port and ship ecosystem around us. That is over 100 actors at the moment, and it's growing. What you see here is customers and producers. So customers are bringing us use cases, then the rest of the ecosystem is solving together, so creating the network effect. We're linking this to other ecosystems and platforms out there, so if there are good solutions to be brought to this market, we're happy to facilitate that. At the core, we're bringing value to port actors, such as these 4 ones I mentioned here. So for port authorities that want to maximize the use of their port capacity, for ship operators that want to spend less time waiting in ports and arrive just in time, for terminal operators that want operational efficiency and transparent communication, and for cargo owners that want full transparency of their cargo flow in sea, port, and land side. These 4 things have commonalities where we are optimizing the cargo flow and turnaround times for these actors. And through AI. So AI is the key here, where we're first modeling the sea traffic, understanding the destinations and arrival times and departure times. We're modeling the port calls and cargo operations. So here you see the ports and pilot stations being taken into account. We're also modeling the land side. So here you see on green where the trains are at a given time. And then we have port-specific modules for specifically loading and unloading activities. Taking all those into account gives our holistic platform for cargo owners and our other actors to collaborate in real time. And now we can extend this to any logistic chain anywhere in the world really fast. Our application that you can have on your iOS or Android device is called Smart Port as a Service. So please go and download that and try it for yourself. You can reach full situational awareness with the solution, and you can get the industry-leading predictions. You can see what's going to happen in the future in that logistic chain. And you can communicate through the port actors in real time using the new solutions. And behind this Smart Port as a Service application is the platform we have built. So you can get that as a standalone solution in case you don't have a master solution you want to link this to. In case there are other systems, we're using APIs to connect to ship operators, terminal operators, freight forwarders, cargo owner systems. And then we're linking the open source data, public data, to build these machine learning algorithms and core services that we can then offer back to those actors. So that not everybody needs to develop those same interfaces and models themselves, but to get it from us as a service. Inside the platform, we have now fully automated predictive analytics. So the AI data pipeline you see here can be scaled effectively and fast to any logistic chain. And these then give us these industry-leading predictions. And we have now benchmarked this against open sources and agent-based solutions where we are up to 80 or even 90% better. And we can get that information earlier and much more accurate. This gives us the opportunity to say to vessels when they should be arriving and how to optimize their port calls going forward. This optimization of the logistic chain and cargo flows, the waste is reduced and our capacity utilization is increased. This leads to 775 million metric tons of CO2 reduced by 2030. This is the same amount than 164 million cars or 200 coal power plants produce in a year. The cost of producing and optimizing the service is minimal compared to the possible savings. For every metric ton of CO2 reduced, 157 euros is saved. And this is over 4 times more cost efficient than wind power and 2 times more cost efficient than solar power. So multiplying these two, so the CO2 reduced and the cost of implementation, this gives us 120 billion euros saved to reach our emission targets. So this is reached by optimization. And what happens after the optimization? We can start automating the processes, and we can enable smarter and even autonomous vessels to approach the port. So here you see a mission example of autonomous vessel approaching the port, and what is described are the functional interfaces, the services, and messaging between the systems. It's important to notice how these processes today are very human controlled, and all the processes are described to serve the people in their tasks. But when the future smart ships and systems are interfacing each other, the process looks very different and can be much more efficient and safer. Awake.AI has now developed this autonomous ship mission controller system you see here in the middle. It's a system that manages the data interfaces and machine learning models and services between the smart ship and the smart port systems. I will be telling you more about that in the future. For now, thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Karno.
Thank you, Karno. I know that Mr. Karno, you have been online. And Karno, let's say hello to you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi. Good morning. Would you like to add something to your speech?
Yes, I've sent over a couple of extra slides just to summarize, and I can show them as well. So let me share this. So do you see the screen?
看看能不能切一下Karno 的画面。Now we cannot see.
Okay. Let me try again. So, do you have my slides there? So maybe you can.
No.
All right. Let me.
You don't have yet, or you can. Let's welcome our next speaker, and then you. Oh, okay. Now we can see. Yeah.
You can see my slides.
Yes, I'm just. 能再放回刚才的。
Go back to the previous slide.
Maybe we have some.
Yes, that's the one. Yes. So I'd just like to summarize our innovations in this field. So what we are doing to develop the market. So we're giving up to 80% more improvements in the ETA predictions. So the error in hours. Compared to the current and used forecasts. So all the data from different sources is used to improve these prediction models that you were seeing. The second point is that many actors today have this 24 or 48-hour visibility forward, where we are giving them days or weeks visibility forward, which then enable better planning and for resources and services. And this is what the machine learning pipeline is doing. The third point there is the new type of communications we're bringing to port actors. So now you have a digital instant messaging tool per port call, and this is shown as messaging, image sharing, group calls, and all the related microservices. The fourth point there is asset tracking and identification in real time that we do in ports, put on mapping service. So this is a computer vision utilization for identifying, tracking, and classifying objects. That's a very innovative feature of the platform. And the fifth one there is what we're doing related to smart and even autonomous ships. So we're developing these APIs and machine learning models to enable these ships to arrive and depart from the ports in the future. If you could go to the next slide, please.
还有下一张吗? Next slide. Okay.
So I was asked what's the value to Chinese companies here, and we're working with an increasing amount of organization authorities to standardize these APIs and machine learning models to grow the ecosystem and efficiencies for all the ecosystem participants. And we can now abstract the data along the maritime logistic actors, create these predictions for any logistic chain, and the core benefits are 10 to 40% reduction in emissions. That's a massive amount of emission reductions. 20 to 40% reduced cost of port calls, and we are improving the situational awareness and operational planning for many days and weeks visibility forward. You can get up to 30% increased productivity when you can leave the port earlier, and you can get up to 20% additional revenue sharing from new revenue from shared data, and of course you can be the first ones to enable these smart and even autonomous ships to make port calls in the future. So that's what we're bringing. If you can put the next slide, please. So the final one, then I'm ready. one more slide, please.
Okay, one more.
Thank you. So here is what to do next, and we have been now co-creating these solutions with customers and partners using very agile working methods. And what we are bringing to the market is the smart port as a service, and we can implement these first ship-to-port digital interfaces. So ready for proof of concept and testing anywhere in the world. But this is a digitalization journey that has just started. And the full platform and the APIs for all the relevant logistic interactions and optimization functionalities are following now next. And at this point, we are serving the market with a universal information exchange so that not everybody needs to develop the same interfaces and predictions themselves, but to get it from us as a service. And what you see going beyond this now is we are seeing more connected platforms and ecosystems to support this end-to-end logistic chain automation and relevant digital services. And during this decade, we see smarter and even autonomous ships start to make port calls. So we are now preparing for that as well. So this is a journey. Please join it one way or another. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Karno. So now we will welcome our next speaker, Peng Junsong. He's the Chief Digital Officer and Vice President of SAP China. 那下面我们就有请SAP 中国。
And now I would like to invite Mr. Peng Junsong, Chief Digital Officer and the Vice President of SAP China. And SAP is a leading software company in the world. So, Mr. Peng, please share with us how you integrate leading applications and softwares into smart ports. SAP is a German software company. It is one of the largest company management companies in the world. And among the 5 largest marine-related companies, all of them are our customers. So before I answer the question of the moderator, I would like to share some information about our company. So actually our company has a business covering 25 aspects of this industry. We can see that the shipping industry and also the marine industry has been reshaped by smart technologies. This is the trend of the world. And against the globalization of our economy, we can see the convenience created for world trade. But we are now considering the stability and the security of a global supply chain. And the international trade is also changing its dynamics. And these changes have some impact on our logistic industry and also shipping marine industries. And for the real economy, real trade, we are also seeing some imbalance. We can adopt technologies and some other new types of services to address relevant issues. And when we are talking about the reshaping of the global supply chain, we should look at changes of the logistic industry. There are 4 aspects. First is that if you look at the coverage of our industry, terminals are a very important part of the logistic industry, and terminals are expanding downstreams and upstreams. So terminal logistics is not as traditional as it was before. We should integrate other concepts from other disciplines to build up the terminal logistics. We now have large-scale vessels, and we should turn the competitiveness of those large vessels and the companies into comprehensive competitiveness. We are seeing that when the development of the industry is integrated with urban development or the development of transportation, especially smart transportation and smart industry, we can see bigger progress. And in this process, smart ports is a very critical link. And if you look at the technologies, I would like to tell you that for both manufacturers or the logistic industry itself. If we want to change the technologies in our ecosystem, we need to rely on industrial internet. With that, we can digitalize our services. We can rely on data to better improve our services, to drive business model innovations and new business types and new startup companies and new business environments. And for our smart ports and the logistic industries, digitalization is also the current trend. So we also need to integrate technologies into our industries. We can see that terminals are expanding downstreams and upstreams. We need to integrate technologies, especially industrial internet, into the industry to better develop. If we look at the development of traditional industry of China, we can see that, especially according to our 25 years experience in China, we are seeing that the real economy industries, for instance, from the production of raw materials to the manufacturing of finished products, we can see that we are moving to the upper level of the supply chain. In the past, we participated in simple processing, but nowadays we are participating in digital links of the new types of industrial development. So if you look at the logistic industry, it is the same case. So there are three trends for our logistic industry. First is that we need to look at the industries that logistic industry is serving. And those industries are changing. They are becoming internet-based, and their business models are reshaped by such a trend. We are seeing logistic networks of different kinds, and these networks have incorporated many different resources, including resources of producing the manufactured products or high-tech products. With technological progress, we are enabled and empowered to simplify the complex procedures before and rely on these digital technologies and platforms. We can improve efficiency for our services to those industries that the logistics industry is serving. We can see that in the logistic industry, we are seeing the emergence of new platforms and ideas for the development of new platforms and new companies. Just now, we heard the speech from the CEO of a smart port from Finland, and they focused on smart ports. And this is actually building or describing the new environments of the smart ports and the logistic industry. Actually, this is coordinated or cooperation platforms for different elements along the logistic industry. And for our customers, the suppliers, and the operators, we need to help them to connect resources across different shareholders, but within a single company. We should also improve efficiency and to improve the degree of coordination. And we also need to integrate smart input to drive the development of the logistic industry. And for ports and terminals, smart technologies are very important, reshaping the industries and the ports and terminals to turn smart and digitalized so that the industry can better integrate into internet-based progress. And for terminals, and its transition from automation to smart ports, this is what we should focus on, but we should also look at the operation and management of our companies and how the companies can together build an ecosystem. by using big data or AI technologies to build a smart industry, a smart ecosystem of the industry. And I think this is one of the directions that we can go to in terms of technologies in the future. And in China, for SAP, we have participated actively in smart ports development and digitalization. And several months ago, we worked on a large-scale port and terminal in the northern part of China. We started from the top design of the operation and management and to the execution of the design, and even to the transportation distribution of cargoes, and also the connections between different terminals and cities, and the shipping transportation industry and other industries. We can see that there are a lot of connections within the development of smart ports and technologies. So we have such a three-dimensional development of smart terminals and ports. And for that, we have designed a comprehensive design for smart terminals and ports. And this is interdisciplinary industrial design. And as a software company, we have limited resources, so we look forward to cooperation of other partners and customers to better provide the China solution of smart ports and terminals. And for SAP, we have a slogan that is to build up smart companies and to change the industry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Peng.
下一位这个演讲嘉宾，他也是因为这个时差的关系
Speaker, due to the time lag, he cannot be present here. And our next speaker is from Terminal Link. And this is a joint venture. And is a company operating the terminals and ports. And he is the managing director of Terminal Links SAS, and his name is Boris Wenzel. And he will address the application of big data and IoT in the management of terminals and ports.
Hello, I'm Boris Wenzel, and I'm going to talk to you about big data and IoT. So I'm sorry I cannot be present in Shenzhen for this presentation, so instead we're going to do it here from my office. And let's get started. So big data, IoT, the technology is here. It's new, it's exciting, it opens new horizons, but the question is, are we ready for it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a fast trip to discover how big data is and will impact our industry in a very big way, and you'll discover how challenging it is for us to drive change, to take us into the future thanks to these new technologies, but also all the promises that are held with it. So now let's get started, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about myself. So I'm Boris Wenzel. I'm the managing director of Terminal Link. Terminal Link is a joint venture between CMH EZM Group from France and China Merchant Port Holdings. Terminal Link operates 21 terminals today, soon 23, representing about 25 million TEU of throughput. We are present in 16 countries. So it makes us one of the leading port operators in the world. Besides that, I'm also the president of TIC 4.0. TIC 4.0, which stands for Terminal Industry Committee 4.0, is an association we have created last year to promote and elaborate the definition of standards for our industry. These standards are important because they are the key for our industry to fully embrace the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution. And besides that, as Terminal Link and through our association TIC, we are the sponsor of a European project called iTerminals 4.0. And the objective of this project is to actually put into practice the standards which we are defining in TIC 4.0 and to demonstrate the profitability of the digitalization of the port industry. So now I'm going to tell you a bit more about big data. So big data and Internet of Things are technologies that have been around for a while, but they are not yet implemented in our industry. The implementation of these technologies will have as a benefit the creation of very important tools. One of them is for having the ability to have virtual objects. Virtual objects are the digital representation of any process, device, equipment that forms part of a container terminal. And the digital platform is a platform which allows you to collect millions of daily data registers that are generated by the different virtual objects that form part of the terminal. So thanks to these new tools, you are able to improve two fundamental solutions. One is continuous improvement. Every terminal today, of course, usually has a practice of continuous improvement. However, this is based on very limited data sets. Continuous improvement based on the new level which is created by big data and Internet of Things allows you to actually go much deeper into the improvement of your processes, optimizing your productivity, your cost, for example. And the second benefit is on process automation. Because once you have digitized everything in the terminal, you are able to operate a much smoother transition towards automation. And now I will show you a practical application in the container terminal of big data and IoT technology. So this is IoT and big data in a terminal environment. And what does this theory mean in the container terminal environment? Well, there are 3 levels of data. The first level, which is in the first column, is the raw data. IoT could collect an unlimited amount of data from the machines. In our case, the most relevant signals are collected every second. The big data tools can manage, aggregate, and represent this huge amount of information in a very simple way. We can group the data per time, per device, per time and device, per sensor, all of that just in real time, and we can also aggregate all of them in real time as well. The second level of data, which is also in the second column, is move data. The basic unit of our business is the move. So the minimum representation of any KPIs for our business should be by move. We can use the raw data to create hundreds of KPIs per move, adding also lots of metadata to link different move registers, such as machine, driver, vessel visit, container number, etc. And the third level of data is the global KPI. This is a high-level global KPIs. The granular per move KPIs allow us to aggregate the information in a way, but not only. The relationship between them, thanks to the added metadata, let us create new high-level KPIs, such as a global efficiency measurement for the terminal, or a bottleneck efficiency that otherwise would be impossible to calculate. The most exciting aspect of this powerful tool is that it allows us to see a huge amount of data in real time. It can be a few minutes of aggregation, so like near real time, from anything from that to days, months, weeks, or even years, all in the same tool. And most importantly is the actualization will also be represented on the same dashboard in real time. In fact, all these concepts and features I have been talking about, this is not a theory. In fact, it's a reality at our Malta Freeport Terminal facility, which is a major transshipment hub in the Mediterranean Sea. Thanks to the IoT technology, real-time data with a latency of about 2 seconds for raw data and 8 seconds for fusion data, almost all the equipment on the terminal. All the data is then stored without limit thanks to big data technology on the digital platform. So now the raw data is very easily accessible. In fact, it's much more easily accessible than on a classical database. Move data, status, spreader, hoist, trolley, engines, timers, hundreds of timers actually, power, energy, almost any single interesting value is available. The business intelligence tool allows us to represent the raw data in a graphical friendly way across time and or buckets per any metadata you can think of. Working, driving, idle status, any timers you want, eco-consumption status, loads, any kind of counters like moves, boxes, cycles, cost. The dashboards regroup all these visualizations on one page, so you can see all this data together, harmonized and synchronized in real time. Now the data is available and ready to use for any service, such as a cloud toss, which you can deploy then at minimal cost, smart plugins can then also be used and enhanced with real data with a minimum effort. So we have already, at this stage, integrated our digital platform with several manufacturers. Konecranes, ZPMC, for example, are already done, and others such as Heister and Kalmar are in progress, and will very soon be fully connected with the new OpenTIC 4.0 protocols. But if the technology is available, why don't we have this implemented in every terminal yet? Well, the translation of the reality into numbers is not so easy. All the devices must speak exactly the same language, and the reality itself is so complex that you need a very complex and sophisticated language to represent it. The idea is simple. Humans and virtual objects need to speak a language that they both understand. A language as complex and as complete as the human language, but that can be, at the same time, understood by the humans and machines. The combination of different attributes of data, such as the header, the concept, must strictly define the value it represents without any ambiguity. And this is the job we're doing at our TIC 4.0 association. So now we're using two kinds of register. The instantaneous register that represents a snapshot of the reality, and the closed register that represents a reality during a period of time. Today, the instantaneous register has more than 200 attributes, and very soon it will be 400. The closed register has more than 500, and very soon it will be more than 1,000. The reality requires a lot of data to be presented properly. This adds a lot of complexity to the end user if you really want to translate the reality into a digital form. To monitor a terminal, you need a lot of IoT devices that each will send millions of messages with hundreds of data attributes per message every second. A very powerful platform is therefore required to process all this data in real time. The only way to compute such huge amount of information is with multiple nodes, meaning computers working together. Even when all the information is already processed, achieving a human-friendly representation of all this huge amount of data is really a challenge for most people. Every single dashboard not only represents single KPIs, but also group KPIs, such as per concept, machine, driver, vessel, etc. Also tendencies, statistics, heat maps, rankings, etc. It is great, because this gives you all the visibility of the concept across the equipment's operation, time and place, but at the same time, it requires another level of understanding than we are used to. So IoT and big data are key elements to improve efficiency, but not only. Today, big data is not able to investigate root causes of the problems or to apply corrective actions to the root causes. So at this stage, human intervention is still required to evaluate and resolve problems, and especially if we're talking about complex problems. So big data makes especially sense for the resolution of complex problems, because complex problems have complex root causes, and complex root causes have a lot of dependencies on other factors, which the human cannot mitigate. So the reality is complex. And for a human to look at the reality through numbers is even more difficult. As humans, we are limited. We've just passed the singularity where data power has overpassed our intellectual level. And the percentage of people that cannot understand big data today is already quite high. It is obvious that big data technology is not a plug-and-play software, though most people would actually think so. As the language is new, the perspective and the point of view of the reality is completely new for most of the users. Managers in the container business will have to learn how to read and write in a completely new language in order to take the full advantage of these tools. As humans, we are so proud of ourselves that we really think we are better than any machine database algorithm or program, but that's not the case anymore. Big data knows more of you than you know yourself. So anyone with access to the data and able to interpret the data will have more knowledge than yourself. That means that not anymore the control of information will be under one person, but it could be accessible to everybody, from a low level to the board of directors. The control of information is power. So some managers will lose their power because it's only based on the information they have and not on their added value. And this is really scary for a lot of powerful people. Now, data is also not just a solution. It is just a tool. The only direct benefit of big data is the pressure it creates over everybody, that there is data that registers and measures everything they do or their performance. Because when we feel we are observed, we try to do our best. But to get other benefits, we need to take actions. And big data itself is not going to resolve the problems.
So, in conclusion, the questions are we going to be able to transform our industry with all the difficulty it faces and all the resistance we are going to encounter? And is it all worth the effort and investment? Well, the answer is it's up to you. But if your competitors make use of these new tools and you don't, then the question is, will you remain competitive?
So thank you very much. And I will be happy to take questions that you can send to me by email. You have my details on the last slide of this presentation. Thank you.
好的，谢谢 Terminal Link 的
Thank you, Mr. Boris. I also want to supplement a little bit about Terminal Link. I want to supplement a little bit. Terminal Link is a subsidiary of a French mother company, and our China investment port worked together with our French partner, and in 2013 we set up this joint venture, and we have 49% of the shares. At that time, it had 13 terminals, and by the year of 2020, we have renewed our contract with our French partner, and we have added another new 10 new terminals. So in total, it have 23 terminals covering Asia, Europe, Africa, and America. So covered 4 continents. And the China Investment Port is state government-owned company, and we have been cooperating with our French partner closely, not only in terms of the shell ownership, but also in the technology development. And in the Terminal Link, it has Mon Park, that is a flagship terminal, and it has been applied the big data applications. And in Haixing Port, that is the west part of China, we're also building a fully automated port in China.
是这个
Mr. Tan Lu is the senior manager of China Merchants. In the QA session, he will speak on Mr. Boris Wenzel. I am Chen Tongxin, the moderator of this session. And Karno and Richard will also join our QA sessions. And the first question from my side is closely related to digitalization and IoT and how they can help to improve smart ports and technologies and smart logistics. Maybe first we can go to panelists on the stage. And what kind of transformation can bring by the technologies to smart ports and terminals, and what it means to the industry? Maybe start from our lady. So first, let's distinguish between automation and smartization. We used to think the two concepts are the same, and we were confused with the two concepts. But over the past years, we have started to clarify the definitions of the two concepts. We think that smart ports and terminals have 3 development stages. The first stage is automation of the ports and terminals. It is one basic step towards smartization. And the second stage is a digitalization stage. I agree with Mr. Peng in this on this idea. And the final stage is smartization. And for the final stage, we target the smartization of equipment to reduce costs and improve efficiency. And for digitalization, we focus on optimization of decision making. And for smartization, actually we will use core technologies of the fourth industrial revolution to drive the development of smart ports and terminals. And I think that after hearing the sharing of the speakers, I have found that the directions towards smart ports and terminals is the same. We share the same direction of development. We need to recourse to the core technologies of the fourth industrial revolution to drive the development of smart ports and terminals. We should not only focus on smartization of terminals and ports, but also to turn the logistic industry into a smart industry. On the current situation and progress, we should enhance our cooperation in this regard. And also, in terms of logistics, we should maximize operation performance and efficiency by using technologies. And for workers and staff working at ports and also for port cities, we need to build a friendly environment for them and to ensure sustainable development. And I think this is one of the directions we should go to in the transition from automation to smartization. And let's turn to Mr. Peng. So 3 stages: automation, digitalization, and smartization. I think in the future I would like to invite Madam Kim to our company to share her ideas. And I think the 3 stages are highly relevant to what we think about the industry at SAP. Automation, we are enthusiastic about it. But if you look at the development of technologies, automation is an element of the third industrial revolution. It is built on a specific model to improve a specific performance. But nowadays, we focus on custom performance or services. We are seeing more uncertainties instead of certainties. Just now, our foreign speakers talked about smart technologies. And smart technologies is a very important part of the fourth industrial revolution. We need to use those technologies to identify what kind of certainties we can get out of big data to address uncertainties. And we can see there are 4 parts of our industry: data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. And for automation, we are using information and knowledge to operate knowledge. We analyze data and information and to get the most helpful or useful part of the data and integrate those data to better improve our performance. But at the smartization phase, we need to transform from data, information, to knowledge, and finally to wisdom or smart. And I think this is smart in all aspects of this industry. Only when we achieve smart of all aspects or areas of this industry, we can fully realize the real smartization of this industry. And I would like to share with you some statistics. In the past, many companies dedicated to automation, but to some certain level, we met bottlenecks. Every year, the efficiency, the productivity only increased by about 0.0%. That is a very small increase of efficiency, but in the future, we need to further improve our efficiency by about 7% or 5 to 7%. And we could not only rely on automation to increase the efficiency to that level, so we need to rely on smartization. And now, Mr. Tan, you please. Thank you very much. Just now, Ms. Qian and Mr. Peng shared with us their ideas. I agree with them, and I think digitalization is a tool to reshape our industry. And I think big data, according to Boris, the application of data is very important. Big data is very important, and big data is a new language, especially to our industry. Actually, our port industry is very traditional. We lack high-tech talents and high-tech tools. With the rising of big data, we are seeing our inadequacies in this regard. Actually, our engineers cannot very good. Our engineers are not very good at interpreting big data. It is actually like a foreign language. We need to learn new foreign language. We need to understand not only the language but also the background behind it. So this is one direction we should focus on when we are moving towards smartization. And this is one of the challenges for us. And in the future, another challenge is that in the future, we rely on big data and digital technologies to make our operations more automated and smart. But ironically, it is up to human to make the decisions. So we human have to make the final decision. But in this part, I think there are a lot of gray areas that we should focus on, because human makes errors. And even we have those data analytics, we should also focus on the impact of human factors when using those big data analytics. We should discuss and to study whether we have very well mastered the new language that is big data, and how well we can use that when we are making decisions. Maybe in the future we can rely on AI to make decisions instead of human beings. Maybe in the future AI can replace human beings in making decisions. Okay, now I would like to invite an audience. Just now you mentioned automation and smartization, but there is another difference between smart and intelligent. And just now Boris mentioned that data is about know more about yourself. And for ports, we need to use data to know more about the ports than knowing about ourselves. And with big data, we still need to rely on human beings to make decisions. If we can use big data to know more about the ports, why we should have the human factors? Why should we have human to make decisions? So two questions. Difference between smart and intelligence, and also why human still make decisions when we are using big data and digital technologies. Thank you very much. Let's invite Mr. Peng to respond. And I think for smart and intelligent, and I think a better word is digital. We are actually building digital ports and terminals because we are not mature at building smart ports or terminals. We are now digitalizing data and the statistics of the ports and terminals. Because in the past we rely on human to collect relevant information, but now we use digital technologies to do that. And for smart ports and terminals, and I think the application of the technologies are wider than we are at the digitalization stage. And for from my perspective, and I think ports are mainly dedicated to handling of cargoes. But in the future, and I think ports is not only about handling cargoes, but also expanding out of the port areas or terminal areas. So for our company, we are working to provide comprehensive services to the world. We are uniting and cooperating with all stakeholders to build a smart port ecosystem or community. And I think this is a very good question from the audience. Smart and intelligent are very similar words. So this is a very good question to distinguish the difference between the two words. But let's start with your second question. For automation, it's an old concept. We know that in the early 1990s, we knew that there was a very famous company called GE. Actually, it was a very good company, but at that time, there was negative media coverage about it.
The reason for which for us doing this is that what we want to do is to integrate every steps in the process of production into digitalized platform based on the data. So all those data should be collected and structured. So our business process, our workflow, and all those data from the sensors should be collected and structured. But it's just an idea. This idea have never been really put into practice. And today, what we have been doing is not just integrate, say, thousands of structured format. What we are doing is something much bigger than that. So we have changed the technology roadmap. And in the past, when we talk about the centralized or integration, what we mean is centralized control. Well, now what we are doing is not a centralized control, but a more distributed control. So what we have been doing is, firstly, we collect the data. Well, based on the data, what we provide is just an integrated solution that can serve the people. And the final value proposition rests with a service for people rather than for the machines. So we talk about AI, we talk about IoT or big data, but we also have an intelligence analytic. That means we still need people to participate. We still need people to be at the top of the decision making. And that is what we are doing in the Industrial 4.0. So we talk about smart and intelligence. And I think intelligence is a very ambiguous word or inclusive word that includes information and also include the wisdom of people. And when we are doing information technology, what we are doing is try to get insight from the information. But when we're talking about intelligence, let me give you an example. I see a defect on a component. I take a picture, and with the algorithm, we can identify where the defect is. So it can be called a kind of intelligence or insight. So insight is something very hard to be defined. For example, we always say some people is the people with intelligence, is the people with wisdom, and he know a lot about life. But how can you quantitatively measure that? That is very hard to be quantitatively measured. And that is why we say intelligence is something more ambiguous. And we often use the word smart rather than intelligent. For example, we will call it smart computing, smart cell phone, and also smart icebox. But this smart cannot be simply equalized to intelligence. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Richard and Karno, do you have anything to conclude, or do you have anything to add? We only have maybe two more minutes, as you stay online since the very beginning. So we'll give you 2 minutes to finish this panel. Yes, please go ahead. Richard first.
Go ahead, Karno, you go first.
Yeah, thanks, Richard.
It's Karno, sorry.
Well, thank you. So just important points for this forum are related to AI in maritime logistics. We all need to address the emission saving potential to reach the IMO targets, and we should collaborate together to enable future smart and autonomous ships to make port calls. So these are the 3 points I'm hoping everybody takes with them. So thank you very much for this session.
Thank you, Karno. So Richard?
I think I'm agreeing with Karno. For me, the challenges aren't necessarily technical challenges. The challenges are around alignment of all the different stakeholders and aligning business models so people could cooperate and collaborate together. So data is shared, data's formatted in a common way, and access given to that data. So standards and what we heard from about TIC 4.0 and the work that Karno's also doing, that's absolutely vital part of what's required, because you have so many stakeholders in a port, all with slightly different business models, all with slightly different goals and targets, and trying to align them together is the big challenge. I don't think technical sensors and APIs and storing data and things like that is not a challenge with clever companies around like SAP and people. So I think it's really about the industry coming together and deciding together how it wants to move forward with digitization and smartification.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. 也感谢各位
Our gratitude also goes to all the audience participating in today's event. Today we talk about the digital technology and IoT technology and big data technology and how they can be applied in the maritime industry. So thank you for your time and your attention.
谢谢主持人，大家
Special thanks goes to all of you. And for the interest of time, we will begin with the third session of our discussion. So please just stay where you are. And firstly, we take a group photo and we'll move on with the next session.